Bonsoir, friends. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Friday. I just got in from work a little while ago. I've been home for a few minutes. It was a great night at work. It was super fun. I had like a nice little 3-table section with like a large party table and like a medium large table and then like a 2-top. So like no matter what happens, like anything can happen and you can handle like that and still have a fairly calm night and still do pretty well. So it was good. It was really fun. Everybody was having a good time. Mercury retrograde wasn't too horrible to us this week. We didn't have like bar printers going down or anything like we have had during other weekends. So relatively uneventful. I do work with like an entire staff of people who are like passionately into astrology though. So it's like we all are like pros. We're like, we know Mercury's in retrograde. Like we know what to do, people. Like assume the position and execute the drills. And so it's pretty good. We're a good, well-oiled machine of a team. And then, others are also aware of manifesting, and I'm like always really like talkative about what I'm, manifesting stuff at work. So it's just all become like a super fun game for all of us, and we're always all paying attention to it all the time, and like what the astrology is doing to everyone, and if everybody's acting crazy or if everything's going well and smooth. So I don't know. Tonight we made it through. Yay. Came out in one piece. I'm also super excited because Rosh Hashana is Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And, like the last 7 weeks have been testing every level of our soul. Like no joke, literally like every level of our soul has been tested. Has anybody noticed all the planets have been in retrograde? Planets are moving closer in and like in their orbits, and like we're just being pulled and like pinched and prodded and triggered just to and fro. And we're kind of winding down now, and so like it's gonna get better soon. Okay, the pressure is gonna start easing off just a little bit. But yeah, so I think that I feel really good for us because all week long we keep getting these messages that's like, all right, like kind of like last minute cleanup jobs and little, tweaks here and there. But for the most part, like we've really come a long way in healing a lot of patterns, a lot of our codependency issues, a lot of emotional patterns, and a lot of emotional habits. I was thinking that today. It's like sometimes there's like something that's, I don't know whether it's more subtle than a pattern, or like it's similar to a pattern, but it's like an emotional habit. Like maybe you just think that you feel this way about an issue because you're always thinking about it and you're used to feeling that way. But if you just shifted your attention onto something else, does it just fizzle out on its own? Like maybe it's just like an emotional habit that you have to feel a certain way when something happens, to be triggered by something, or to feel really good or excited about something that may not be, all that great for you in the end anyway, right? So pay attention to the emotional habits that you're breaking. And so, yeah, today, I mean, it's just like more good news, but I feel like all week long, whether we've been in our weekly readings or like the romance reading for Thirsty Thursday, like the cards keep pointing out like, yes, like you're transcending these codependency, we're healing codependency because we're all on the spectrum of codependency, right? I don't think anybody got out of their early childhood completely unscathed. We live in the world. So, but yeah, so there's a lot of hope. Things are being healed. I think that like our perspectives are changing and everything. So it's like we're really beginning to feel our way into this up-leveled version of ourselves. We're starting to feel more in touch with our higher self or our higher guidance, and almost like that we can start understanding like we can align ourselves with the will of the higher self instead of the will of our lower self, because we can see the benefit of it now. We can see that it is setting us up for things to play out in a better way. Let's just say that. So today, for the weekend, I got the Goddess Power Oracle out by Colette Baron Reed. I was like really feeling the ladies calling. I was like, who's our like goddess energy archetype that we're working with over the weekend? Like what kind of energy or personality do we need to embody and enhance? Or, you know, who's our messenger? And it was Lilith. And, you know, there's a lot of different, I guess, ideas about Lilith, depending on the lens that you are viewing her through, and the tradition that you're interpreting her through. But for the sake of, when it comes to oracle cards, I like to think of them as a lexicon for my communication with spirit. So if I feel drawn to a particular deck, and even like particularly like if it's a specific tarot deck, I usually will make sure to read that particular writer's description in their booklet, just because each person uses different wording, they use different examples, and they use, and they might have slightly different interpretations. So I feel like if you have a whole bunch of decks, then spirit leads you to grab a certain one because there's a certain piece of message that you need that may be, you know, something that, you know, is hiding in the booklet. So, so in regards to Colette Baron Reed's interpretation of Lilith, the message that Lilith brings in this deck, it's all about independence and about, you know, valuing yourself and loving yourself and knowing how to have boundaries and assert your boundaries and protect yourself and, you know, say no when you feel it's a no, you know, and be firm in that and stand by it, you know, even if there's a backlash or whatever. The legend behind Lilith is that she was the first female created, and it wasn't actually Eve, it was Lilith that was created for Adam, but she would not submit, she would not let him mount her. So she was cast out of the Garden of Eden, and then Eve was made from Adam's rib. From a Kabbalistic point of view, Adam and Eve and Lilith are more like energies and archetypes, right? And so Lilith on the Tree of Life would have been the first attempt at a passive, negative electrical sort of energy, like circuitry, that she would not receive, or she would not be passive. Like, so it was too masculine or positive forces, charges bumping against one another, right? They couldn't, like in electricity, you need a positive and a negative, and ideally a ground, right? And that's how the Tree of Life is set up. It's these three columns. It's right column energy, which is positive energy, left column energy, which is negative energy, and central column energy, which is the grounding energy. Well, Lilith was created to be the negative, passive energy, not like bad negative, but like electrical negative, passive, feminine energy, and not necessarily gender, because we're not talking about people, but like the energy of the feminine versus masculine. But she was not, or the energy of Lilith was not passive. It was a feminine and her masculine, and which opens up the whole like divine feminine, divine masculine, and that goes into that whole can of worms. So let's just stay focused on the fact that in this particular, I don't know how to example. Let's just call it an example. Lilith represents independence, and I actually want to read her paragraph because I thought it was interesting this morning. The Jewish goddess Lilith refused to be dominated by the first man. And I think sometimes it's not helpful to think about these characters as people. Sometimes it's more helpful to think of them as energies. And I think that's where people get hung up on like arguing over like the right and wrong. And like, then it becomes like this big issue of like Lilith is she's a feminist. And it's like, it's actually, we're all like fighting over like 3D stuff that doesn't matter. It's actually the energy behind it. It's the cosmic mystic truth underneath. But either way, this message does have, significance. So let's just read it. We're just going to read it. The Jewish goddess Lilith refused to be dominated by the first man, and as a result was called a demon in the stories about her that followed. These inaccurate and damaging stories are so old and repeated so often that no one recognizes how pervasive their implications are. From another perspective, Lilith offers this lesson. No one can prevent you from fully blooming, from learning all you can, from evolving and choosing freedom. Only your conditioned thinking can do that. Be proud, be accountable, and claim your power. Hold it wisely. Right now, you're in an excellent position to attract healthy, interdependent, collaborative relationships that truly serve the highest good. Friendships flourish with mutual respect and support. Love relationships bloom with ample space for both parties to grow. Business ventures thrive in service to the greater good. The goddess Lilith wants to show you the way to claim a healthy self-worth and self-respect by refusing to let your old stories keep you down. You will be amazed at how deep, meaningful, and respectful your experience becomes in all areas of your life when you make choices from a place of empowered independence. Now, I think it was really valid and worth reading because I think it's interesting that those 3 paragraphs basically sum up our spiritual work over the past year together. But like, really, it's like we've become more independent. We've been able to, overcome things and get ourselves to a point where we can attract a healthy partnership. And so I think it's interesting that this paragraph kind of sums up all of our work for the year and really, how we're rounding out these last few weeks leading up to Rosh Hashana. And like our other card, our tarot card was the sun. And it's like, yes, it's like awakening, spiritual enlightenment, joy, happiness, abundance. If there's a question that you are asking, the sun is a resounding yes, like go for it kind of thing. So the way I saw it was it's like, yes, awesome. You've awakened, you've arrived. Like you're finally like becoming like this independent, self-realized version of yourself that doesn't need permission, that doesn't need validation, right? That doesn't need someone else to tell them that they're worthy, that doesn't need someone else to approve. Not enmeshed here. No enmeshment there. She did not hold herself responsible for if Adam was going to be feeling like rejected or like, well, we already like went on the whole date and like came back to Adam's place and now, I owe it to him. Like, no, that was not Lilith. She had boundaries, right? Boundaries. You can say no and, and assert yourself to say no when it's not right for you, whatever the situation is. So Lilith is independent, she's saying like, hey, yeah, you've made it. Like you made it to the point where you like valued yourself enough. You're getting all of these areas of your life in healthy working order. You're awakened, you're self-aware, you're present in the moment, and you're victorious. And now, like, your life is starting to feel joyful, and the sun is coming out, and you're shining, and you're in a rebirth and a renewal, and, victorious. So it's all very exciting. I feel really, really good. Rosh Hashana is going to be blowing that horn. We're going to be blowing through all these shells of negativity, setting ourselves up for blessings in the year to come. And I just think that I can't think of better messages to have been getting all week that are like literally addressing each area of our life, saying like, hey, yes, like it's all about like just tiny little shifts now, and you're like you're setting yourself up for so much potential to be there and to be able to expand into your potential. We've been building the vessel to be able to contain all of the energy coming in, so that as the opportunities are going to start coming our way, we're going to be able to take advantage and meet them, right? It's like it's going to manifest in the sense where it's like, oh, you have like really sharp instincts, and you're going to feel really decisive, and you're going to feel more like you're clear on the guidance. You know, you're not hesitant. You're not like torn this way and that. You know, you feel like more assertive. You feel less like procrastinating. You know, you feel less overwhelmed or stressed, and you feel more comfortable being put outside of your comfort zone, right? That's another huge sign of growth that I think we're going to be able to just be able to handle more with more grace and more ease without it feeling like it's more, you know? And then we're going to be able to be more proficient in doing less and making more out of doing less. You know what I mean? So I feel really good. I feel like, you know, don't get too overconfident. You don't want to rest on those laurels, but like stay vigilant, stay aware, stay present, stay woke, stay woke. But yeah, super excited, super happy. I think only good things to come. All right, you guys, that's our weekend reading. I hope you're feeling independent. I hope you're feeling like you are fully worthy and valuable and capable, and that your needs matter, and that you are able to meet any of these spiritual challenges. Pause and choose. Choose with conscious awareness. And if you mess up, it's okay. Don't worry. You'll have another test along shortly. You'll be able to make up for it. All right, y'all. I hope any of that made sense. I'm tired and a little crazy. Looking forward to some smothered cabbage, and I think I need to water the garden. Although it is starting to get chilly. It was like a cool day today. It was very exciting, and the leaves are changing, and the wind has been blowing, and it's been awesome. And I saw a pumpkin at work today. All right, y'all, be good. Ciao.